Hi, intrepid viewers. I'm still on a bit of a high. It's fading a touch, but it's still up there, isn't it? And Garland has come out and said if Trump doesn't reveal the contents of the warrant by Friday at 3, he will. At least some of it. So that in itself, he's saying he will reveal some elements of it, says there was quite a lot there, doesn't it? You know, this wasn't two lines on a piece of paper. Look for this. Some of the theories include nuclear protocols, not the actual codes, because the codes change all the time and stuff. I think that's a bit Cold War, but this is apparently describing the nuclear potential and the actual descriptions of weapons and stuff, which is very serious. So now, according to Newsweek and other sources, that they believe there was someone deep inside Trumpland who tipped off the FBI, because there are various indicators that it was done quite quickly from the tip-off to what was in there and where it was. So I was also watching a panel discussion, probably Mary Trump. Love her podcast. You've got to love Mary. Uniquely placed, being related to the Yeti. But one of the elements of this raid was to convince a judge you have to have fresh material. And so all of this information, when you piece it together, suggests there was someone on the inside. So let's have a look at the mole. I don't know if with tarot cards we can get who it actually is, but we'll get some idea of this insider and Trump's relationship, etc. Let's have a look. Who tipped off the FBI? Oops, what flew out? Oh, fool's gold. Okay. That flew out of the pack. I'm not sure what it has to tell us. We'll have to look at the other cards. Oh. Oh, I think I get it. Look at these other cards. Let's do them first. The devil. Need I say more? The moon. Covering tracks, keeping things hidden. The magician. What can I do with my magic wand? Right? So with the magician, hugely powerful card, but do you use your power and influence and your capacity as a magician for good or evil, right? So look at these cards together. Why were the documents there? Because he was going to sell the information. I wish it was more elaborate and sophisticated and all of that. So but it's not. I'm keeping this because I can sell it. He can sell it to the Middle East, Russia, wherever he wants to sell it. It's all about that. So that's telling us sort of that, but I want more on the mole. Oh, okay, sorry, just a little domestic incident. Where is pause? Oh, I hope this is it. No, that's recorded. I need to stop you for a moment. Stop video. Can only stop it. I can't pause it. They've changed the layout. Oh, damnation. Okay. Hold everything. I'll have to ignore the domestic crisis. Okay, back to the mole. Okay. Who revealed this to the FBI? The FBI is working overtime, aren't they? Okay, let's have a look back to this. Oh, surprise. Well, yes, surprise news. I think there's a possibility it's a woman. Could it be Ivanka? I mean, I don't know. I mean, when she's not having the face Botox into oblivion and having the hair extensions put in or cut off or something, I don't know that it's Ivanka. I think this is someone working close. We may or may not know her name. I think she's the equivalent of a Cassidy Hutchinson type. I think she's young and she believes in America. So that was her motivation. I could be wrong here, viewers, but I'm going to say I think it's a woman. Heaven knows it could be the Latina cleaner who just went, you know what, I've had enough. But I think it's someone who's probably largely invisible to the trumpet, you know. He doesn't see women, I think, in their actual roles. He sees them. Do they have nice legs? Have they got a nice butt, etc.? He hasn't moved on from the 50s. So I think there's every chance while he's railing and throwing himself against walls, I don't think he's got a clue. Oh, my word. So the FBI, now we've all sort of been very impatient for Christopher Wray to be replaced. However, of course, he can't be replaced. I don't think, I could be wrong, unless the Senate signs off on it or something. I could be wrong. Maybe it's just an executive thing. But perhaps this is why he's still there. When Biden got in, he could have had a full and frank discussion with Christopher Wray and pointed out to him his loyalty needs to be with the country, not with a knuckle dragger who is bent on treacherous behaviour. Right? And maybe that's why he's certainly, Christopher Wray I'm talking about, is making up for lost time. Because in other news, subpoenas are raining like confetti in Pennsylvania. Scott Perry's phone was taken soon after Rick Scott's. But Scott Perry, Pennsylvania, they took his phone 5 minutes later, subpoenas for GOP guys in Pennsylvania. I'm going to take a look at Pennsylvania because it's obviously super important. I mean, forget Dr. Oz. He's not a thing. People say Fetterman's good. He'll need to be. So what's happening with Pennsylvania? What's going on there? Pennsylvania, any Penn viewers, please write to me and let me know. So we're looking at Pennsylvania. Oh, big cards for Pennsylvania. 4 of the 5 major arcana. It's going to be really important for the next election. Okay, so this has given us a little potted history. It used to be quite balanced. You had normal people in Pennsylvania. And it's sort of people from all persuasions, sort of keeping it together, keeping it rather balanced. However, this is a turning point in history. This is the Wheel of Fortune. So it's a Wheel of Fortune for Pennsylvania, the karma, fate, and destiny of the state. But because these are such giant cards, you'd have to say the nation as well. The wheel is turning. In a way, I'm getting a vibe. It's a bit like in Oregon, you know, used to be a more reasonable state, and now those who are out in the backwoods, who eat bears and stuff. Okay, that's okay. If you're going to shoot it, I want you to eat it, right? Let's just leave it there. Have grown in stature since the Yeti took hold. So I think this has happened not only in those states, but in lots of states where the fringe, marginalised, disenfranchised men in particular have come to the forefront. Okay. There's a tower coming for Pennsylvania, and they better sort it out. Now, the sort of progressive side of me could get worried for a minute. Does this mean Pennsylvania is going to go fully and completely and utterly to the dark side? But I don't think so. I think it's a tower for the GOP. Please. And the reason I think that too is here's the world. It's the end of a whole cycle of their domination, and Pennsylvania coming into line with the rest of the world as opposed to the rest of MAGAville. Now, speaking of MAGAville, remember, a month or so ago, I told you about the new MAGA in Texas, Mothers Against Greg Abbott, right? Loved it. And they are gaining traction. They've got 50,000 online supporters, but these women are out there. And Beto, bless him and the ground he walks on, at every rally talks about these mothers against Greg Abbott. And he's giving them kudos and support. Did you see Beto's smackdown of a heckler in the last few days when he was talking about guns? I'll put the link up for you. Thank you to the viewer who sent it to me. It made my day, even though it's such a serious subject. I digress, viewers. A digression is in progress. These people have to be smacked down, shut down, told to sit down every time they open their fetid, filthy, twisted lips, right? It has to happen. Chuck Schumer was being interviewed, I think on Rachel Maddow, on something when the raid took place. He was there to talk about something else, probably their policy achievements, and there's been a few of those in the last couple of weeks. He was there talking about something else. The raid happened. They turned to Schumer. What do you make of this? Oh, no comment. I mean, geez. No, Dems, no. You have something generic in your handbag at all times. He could have said simply, well, we know that no one's above the law, so let's wait and see what it's really about. Smack. You know, how can they let these opportunities go? Well, Beto didn't, so I will put that link up. Anyway, moving onwards and upwards. We also saw, there's been so much happening, it's hard to keep straight. The GOP voting against putting a $35 cap on insulin for those who desperately need it. They said no. Look, we can only hope, trust, pray that enough run-of-the-mill GOP Republicans begin to realise these people never support them. They haven't supported them for 6 generations. They're not going to start now. But is it starting to get into some of those ironclad brains? These people do not support you. They do not even like you They read Ayn Rand and they think you're poor because you chose to be poor and you're lazy and you're hopeless and you're a loser. These are the ugly sentiments, people think, because they can't look at the sociological issues of why there is such wealth disparity in the USA, no, the greatest in the world. No, but that's why the red states are all still the poorest states, you know. But will people wake up? Does things like voting against the insulin cap, is it starting to impact on voters, or are those the people who don't vote anyway? What is it? We know it backfired so badly with the veterans, but you need someone with the fame and the gravitas of Jon Stewart to be battling your case. So will the insulin and similar votes impact any of the old guard GOP? Have a look. Well, three swords. I don't know. On the one hand, this is the rampaging Knight of Swords. This is the more measured legal position. I think both of those in the GOP are acting against the interests of the majority of their constituents. So I think they feel their hands are tied, right? This is the actual constituents. This is the diabetic Republican voters whose heads can't sort of hold all this in one space. So they just feel they are being held hostage by these people. They do get the strength card in the end if they can join the dots in the end. But with these three cards, I think that's leaning more to them not turning out to vote, feeling their hands are tied, what's the point of voting, as opposed to using their inner strength to go forward. We'll keep an eye on that. Like with so many of these things, we have to keep looking as we go. Now, I've been asked to read on the Federalist Society. They're this sort of misty, very foggy group, and their sort of pledge to the universe is to raise money to put in medievalist Supreme Court justices. That's why they were formed. And so I want to look at the Federalist Society. And Whitehouse, who's my new hero, Sheldon Whitehouse, I'd love to see him as president one day. He is doing the hard yards, connecting the dots to the money and the appointment of various justices. So may the light be with Whitehouse. He's amazing. It's a long time since I've been impressed by a standing politician. Anyway, all right, the Federalist Society, who are they? What are they doing? Can he bring them undone? The Federalist Society, they're weird. They are so weird. Okay. Oh, they're not just America. Yes, well, this is telling us their story. They have global connections. Right. Here is the world. So I'm sure they've got allies in different countries doing this thing. Their goal is to manipulate the money. It's crystal clear. In the past, they've done this very successfully. And they've hidden this money under the guise of, being reasonable. We're just God-fearing souls who want to raise money for people who can represent our interests well in the Christian nationalist movement. So they've raised quite a deal of money. They don't present as demons. If you see them, they just look at someone who's fighting their cause. That's why they are so epically dangerous, massively dangerous. Have they succeeded? Well, yes, they have. They've got their placements on the Supreme Court, and they've no doubt got others in the wings, because they will not rest until every Supreme Court judge is convinced it's 1563 and before the Reformation. They will not rest. We're talking Old Testament here. We're not talking helping the poor, opening your door to strangers, etc. New Testament, turn the other cheek. No, no, no. Old school, old guard. Well, there's no mysteries there. Let me ask separately, will White House be able to make an impact? Because that little mini spread just told us what they were doing, and we knew that, really. So I want a bit more. Will White House be able to expose the Federalist Society? Before that, speaking of all this stuff and Kavanaugh, we heard at the time, remember there was a figure, there were like 1,500 tips that the FBI ignored. It turns out to be 4,800 odd tips. 4,800 people had some dirt on Kavanaugh. It's a lot of people. All right, White House. What's his challenge? Oh, 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 oh. These are good cards if you want this organisation to be exposed. Now, they're massively powerful, so exposure is not enough, because there's so much news every day of the week that he could expose them and people wouldn't have the time or the energy to follow it up. But I think there's more to this. This is him in between battles, taking a rest. He's been knocked about. This would suggest to me he's had more than one threat too, and I don't think he's speaking about it. I'm sure his security detail would have been amped up, but he's in for the long haul. His challenge and his obstacle, in a way, is this Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups normally, my Princess Diana card and luscious things, when she's not well adjusted, she can be those women who serve this cause. The Amy Comey Barretts, the Ginny Thomases, right? The Marjorie Taylor Greens. This is the perversion of the female principle. Why? Because it's in league with the devil. I don't mean they're Satanists. I simply mean the devil in terms of everything that's wrong with, in a way, even capitalism, and making it possible for people to plan lives now, as this is the first generation of Americans and Australians and UK where young people are not going to achieve what their parents achieved in a lifetime, going backwards. Officially, we are all going backwards. So in this context, this is the Handmaid's Tale, the devil in the form of the Handmaid's Tale. They raise money hand over fist. In terms of White House's exploration, I think even he's going to be surprised. There's going to be something that he's going to uncover, and it even shocks him. But that thing that even rocks his socks, this is outwards too, this is not yet, this is, but the sun comes to bear on this. And I think what we're seeing, are we not? We're seeing all these things happening at the same time. So things that we've been begging to happen for 4 and 5 years are just coming on stream, whereas the J6 stuff that was almost at the end of his reign has jumped over that, and we've got new information every day. But I have to believe that Merrick Garland and Joe Biden actually have Christopher Wray on a leash in a good way, because the FBI is now starting to function as an organization for the people of America. Not a minute too soon. Now, oh yes, of course, the Yeti took the fifth in New York. Are we surprised? No. 400 times. Can you imagine? Because he hates being quiet. They would have had to have had a Yeti tranquilizer that they could inject from the back of the courtroom to keep him just saying no comment. He can't bear it, right? So that's not going to save his sorry ass. We know this. So look, I think that's enough for now. And I just wanted to say, as a bit of housekeeping, thank you all for watching that very quick video I did with Dave from Moonride. I know we have to stop calling it the raid and call it the legally authorized search. Yes, I've taken that on board. Frankly, I don't care what you call it. It was fun to watch. And blessings upon blessings. We didn't get to see Trump in his boxes, which would have seared into our retinas forever. So thank God for that. So this Sunday night, I think it's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'll be on with Jen Lynn, Johnny, Becca et al. For the Sunday Nighter. Also, Saturday Night Live with Hogarth, and you'll have to have a look at Hogarth's channel to find out exactly what time that is in the US. So it's probably afternoon Saturday in the US, but check that out, please. And Sunday night with the gang. Love you guys. Keep those comments rolling in. Oh, of the top 3 that you suggested, there was Flynn, Tony, and Unato, you know, and I think he was the driver that the Yeti exalted to some position, or Jared. Okay. All right, ciao for now. Bye all. See you.